Araminta. I am an author and an educator from Central Maine. I teach college and secondary English and writing classes.
I'm Swanson, Dark Moon Books, Dark Moon Digest. Basically, that's my full-time job, irregardless isn't the word, is it?
No.
Regardless of the lack of pay. This is a book that Mina and I wrote with one other co-author. It's been a real learning experience. I've done co-writing before, but I've never written with two other authors, all by long distance.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a really interesting experience and fun, and I think we came up with a book that I'm really proud of. So anybody that's either a fledgling writer, a wannabe writer, or an experienced writer, I think we can get something out of this book.
Or a student, which is one of our
Yes.
major audiences.
Exactly.
The person who couldn't come today, Rachel Lee, is a PhD candidate in English in Rochester. So she's also an educator, usually at the master's graduate level. So our audience is both educators and
Yes.
writers.
And in fact, there's the book. I'm just going to read the blurb from the back, and then we're going to read, starting at the beginning, we're going to read a little bit of it and a couple of things from the front. Just to give you a taste of the writing style and what you wouldn't normally expect in a textbook type of a book. Two redhead educators and a horror publisher walk into a bar during a zombie apocalypse. Armed with only their wits and a fully charged laptop battery, they hammered out the world's darkest writing manual amidst the flurry and chaos of gnashing teeth and rotting cadavers. Each chapter of the handbook is devoted to a different genre of writing, everything from academic writing, complete with MLA and APA sample essays, business writing, and even poetry and fiction, all of it with a dark and undead twist.
So we have a foreword by Rocky Wood, but I am going to skip ahead and read straight from the preface. So preface from the authors, or its subtitle, "There's a light on over at the Frankenstein place." They've been saying it all along. The zombie apocalypse is coming and we're all going to be food for the dead. Even the Centers for Disease Control announced the impending zombie invasion, asking that all United States citizens put together a disaster preparedness kit. Lucky for us, Rachel had some organizational skills and started stockpiling canned goods and bottled water in her apartment. Not so lucky for us, this publishing contract deadline. Everybody knows publishers and agents accept no excuses for late submissions, even when the whole world is becoming populated by the undead. "We're being eaten alive up here," Rachel was telling Stan as he barreled into her apartment during the first wave of zombies to sweep the city. "Doesn't matter. Zombies will read anything. We need to get this book out on time before the market is saturated with blood. A contract's a contract," he had responded. Of course, that was before the electricity was cut and we had nothing but Araminta's solar-powered backpack to recharge the dying laptop battery. And, oh yeah, someone forgot the can opener. Training for this eventuality his whole life, or at least since the Zombie Survival Guide came out, Stan used his sledgehammer to destroy the stairs leading to the lower floors in order to block any wandering flesh-eaters from making their way upstairs. Rachel papered most of the windows so that any creatures wandering outside wouldn't see the blue glow of the laptop screen from the street. And Araminta arranged the canned goods into a kind of feng shui tower to both increase the flow of qi into our writing space and also to create a sad and dysfunctional barricade against any zombies that might find their way inside. Together, we took turns tapping away at the keyboard or soliciting submissions from the undead. We even managed to get a few flashy celebrities to contribute, including Frankenstein's monster. Impressed? At any rate, the book is almost finished now. Just in time, too, since we can hear the wrought iron fire escape ladder clanging against the metal frame bolted to the building. The zombies have found us, and whether it will be minutes, hours, or days, they'll eventually make their way into the apartment and tear the living flesh from our bones. We don't know how they found us. We took every precaution. Maybe it was the sheet we hung out the window with our submission guidelines painted across it. Maybe it was one of the monsters that tracked down our IP address. Or maybe they could smell us. It has been a couple months without running water, if you know what we mean. It's surprising you can't smell us right now. As the zombie horde descends the fire escape and bombards our safe haven, it occurs to us that the decision to take out the stairs may have been a bit hasty. We now have no means of escape. At least we have a little time to finish the final edits and layout of this book before we send it off to the printer. Just in time, too. The light on the laptop is dying and the sun is setting over the road to the western lands. And there's still so much left to do. Will we make it?
Chapter 1, The Basics of Writing, or The Human Skeleton Has 206 Bones, each with a unique nutritional purpose. The following chapter was composed by the late Reginald Spittoon, a famous author from before the death-eating swept the world, wiping out more than 90% of all the population. From the scraps of bar napkins, notebook pages, and even the bar's zinc-scrawled countertop, we have been able to piece together the last moments of his life, giving us a better idea of how long it might take for the zombie virus to seize control of an otherwise healthy, mortal brain. Incidentally, it also afforded us some great tips on composition. It's dark outside. I can't see through the grime-covered window of the bar to know that for a fact, but the bartender just flipped the switch to the neon sign hanging in the dirt-streaked window. It flickers occasionally, trying in vain to attract the attention of passerby on the street. The evidence of its failure reveals itself in the few people scattered about the seedy hole in the wall joint. They named the guy at the bar drinking the Bloody Mary as Eric. Don't know his last name. Just for your information, that isn't tomato juice in his glass. More likely it's AB positive. Once it gets a little darker outside, I imagine he will disappear into the night in search of the real stuff instead of the refrigerated junk stored below the bar sink. I'm not sure of the name of the girl sitting alone in the corner. I think it's Spice. She is usually out plying her trade as the evening approaches, but not tonight. It's that time of the month. Yep, full moon. You can already see the length of her fingernails increasing and the small tufts of hair sprouting from the back of her hands. The girl at the window is trying to clear the grime from the glass so she can gaze into the outside world. Her name is Misty. She was killed in a robbery attempt at this establishment 3 years ago. She still hasn't realized that she's dead. Her ghostly hand swipes in vain at the pane of glass and leaves no trace of his touch. Bub, the elderly man sitting on the floor near the bathroom, and apparently not minding the smell, simply rattles the chain tethering him to the bar railing and moans now and again. The bartender, ever the loving son, throws him a raw steak every night to keep him under control. He died several weeks ago, but walked, or maybe crawled would be the correct term, out of the local mortuary the next day, his pale flesh already peeling away from his face to reveal the jawbone beneath. I am sitting here at the moment, sipping my voodoo spice rum, jotting down words on napkins that have already turned yellow with age. I told you this wasn't a popular bar. Bub probably purchased this 20 years ago, long before he turned the bar over to his son. I guess I feel an obligation to scribble these words down. You see, I'm supposed to be the keynote speaker at a writers' convention this weekend. I figured that the least I could do was write down some notes in case someone wants to read them on my behalf Saturday night. I won't be able to. You see, being a horror writer, I had come to love this little bar. I get all kinds of ideas from the patrons of people who frequent the place. Humans usually don't last long here. Being famous has its advantages. Eric has never tried to draw blood from my neck with his fangs, and Spice has never attacked me during a full moon. Maybe that is my loss, now I'll never know. But Bub, well, I guess I can't really blame him for what happened. He doesn't have much left in the thought processing department. And it really is my fault for being careless on my unsteady voyage to the John. It didn't hurt much when he grabbed me. He nipped my arm. There wasn't even much blood. But we all know what's going to happen next, don't we? See? So, I will see that someone gets these notes for the convention. My word of advice for writers, write, and then write some more. It doesn't matter what you write, when you write, or where you write it. Fiction, nonfiction, poetry, it all requires the same thing, putting pen to paper, or perhaps fingers to keyboard in this day and age. I still love to write it longhand myself. I guess it makes me feel closer connected to the muse. Writing is like painting in a way, like magic. You wave your wand over the tapestry you wish to bespell, conjuring up new ideas and breathing life into broomsticks and columns there, and that might be the best advice on writing you'd ever receive. But I'll continue. After all, I'm a writer, and what else can I do now but scribble these final words? What was it Isaac Asimov said of writing? I think it was in